This is my friend Ruben, badass animal rights activist, who shocked us all when we attended a vigil the other day and he shared his experience working at a slaughterhouse. And none of us knew that he had worked at a slaughterhouse before. So if you've seen my last video, there were a couple clips of us talking to former and current employees of JBS, one of the largest slaughterhouses in the country. And unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of footage there. So I figured this would be a great opportunity to delve a little deeper.
Cool.
So my first question for you, what brought you to the US?
Well, what brought me to the US, basically on the community in which I lived, it was really hard to find a job. I used to work in a cell phone store down there, and I used to get paid like $1 a day. And
wow.
That was really like, I cannot do this. And I remember that when I graduated from high school, I was going to go to college, but I couldn't afford an education there. So, and at that time my dad was working at the Slaughterhouse, so I just asked him, is it possible I could go there and get a job? And a few months went by and he agreed, and I came to the United States.
From Mexico?
From Mexico, yes.
What was your position and how long did you work there?
I worked at what they call the split saw operator. I worked there for 3 years, then I moved around in that same place in other spots, and then I came back to the split saw, and I worked a total of 7 years in that place.
Wow. What was the split saw? What was the work like?
In that position, it was like I'm standing on a platform holding a big machine. It's like a 200-pound machine with a saw on it.
Wow.
And it's moving up and down all the time. So what I did was what I had to do in that position. I had to grab the split saw and put it on top of an individual and basically split it in half.
Wow. Yeah, so like from the spine?
From the spine all along.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
What was your starting wage? Because I know the pay is pretty enticing. That's why so many, especially immigrants, take these jobs. Mm-hmm. So what was your starting wage and ending wage after 7 years?
So when I got there, they hired me for $16.50 an hour. I didn't know how to speak English. I had no idea how to move around in the city or this town. So basically that was a very good paying job. That's why.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Did you get raises every year or?
Yeah, they gave raises of 25 cents every year.
Wow, that's not much. Not much at all.
No.
So you probably finished making like a little over, or 18?
Yeah.
18 an hour?
Yes.
Would you say that that's a fair wage given the work?
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There were days in which I used to go and work overtime. They asked us, whoever wanted to go and work overtime. So I agreed sometimes, and I went there, and it was a really exhausting job because it was really repetitive, and up to 16 hours a day I used to work in that position.
That's
like
crazy.
The most hardest days, it was 16 hours a shift.
That's crazy. Were you ever injured on the job?
Yes, I did get injured once. I was after 2 years I started working there. I got a really bad injury on my back, lower back, and it was like how they say, like chronic pain kind of thing.
Chronic pain?
Chronic pain.
So it was because of the repetitive work?
I think so, but also when I was in high school in Mexico, I hurt my back and I wasn't able to walk for like a week. And still I went and got the job, and after 2 years or 3 years, I don't remember exactly which day it was, I injured my back again. I was unable to walk again for like another week, and I just didn't went to the doctors because I was pretty sure that they were going to make excuses or something to do surgery or invasive surgery. I don't know. It's just like, no, I'm not doing that. So I tried to find ways of how to heal myself. Like what can I do? I'm sitting on my bed. I cannot walk. What can I do? So that time I really hit me a really big depression, and I started looking for ways. So I found this YouTube channel, and in this YouTube channel he speaks about how to be your own, like stand for yourself and read books and heal yourself and stuff like that.
Be your own boss, kind of?
Yes, kind of thing. And I discovered Coursera at the time, Coursera.org, and I took some introductory nutrition classes from Stanford. I found out about the damages of food that, like, at that time I used to eat meat. I used to eat meat, and I found out about how it can harm the body. And so I just kept looking and found ways to become like a vegetarian first, and then gradually started learning more about food and the industry and the system, and I eventually ended up adopting a vegan diet.
While still working at the Slaughterhouse? Wow, that's incredible. Was the turnover rate pretty high among the employees that you worked with?
Turnover rate? What is that?
Like, did people come and go very frequently?
Yeah, most of the time there were people that they even hired high school graduates. Recently they graduated there and they got the job, absolutely, like running. You can get a job here. I don't know. And after a few months, they just left. Most people just show up a few months and leave.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to be there, to stay there and see all that stuff.
Was it difficult to make your quota?
What do you
Like,
mean?
did you have an expectation to process like however many cows a day?
Oh yeah, they had like a number that they needed to produce, I guess. They said that we had to produce like 5,000 heads a day.
Wow, that's crazy. So it was pretty difficult to keep up with that pace that was expected of you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's a production line, it's what they call, and there's individuals hanging. And sometimes they speed it up and they didn't care about the workers. So the workers were tired, they didn't care. It went fast.
I can imagine that's why there's so many work-related injuries.
Yes, absolutely.
What were the standard practices for slaughter at this plant?
They will knock the cows. They will shoot them in the head, and then they will fall into like a belt, and then like there was a guy down there who was going like to tie from the leg, and then they will pull them up. And
Wow.
there was like one after the other. So every 7 seconds there was someone being murdered in that place.
That's crazy. So I'm sure you saw, because you didn't work on the kill floor, but you mentioned that you'd seen that side of it.
Yeah.
Did you see a lot of cows that didn't appear fully unconscious when they were shackled?
Yeah, I saw most of them.
Most of them?
Most of them.
Wow.
Because once they shoot them in the head, they start kicking around, moving their hands, and most of them were doing that.
How often did inspectors come through?
USD inspectors?
Yeah, like health inspectors.
Yeah, they were there at all times.
So despite the fact that these inspectors were there were still like horrendous things that you witnessed?
Yep, absolutely. There's another time where the USDAs had to stop production for like 3 hours because a cow, she jumped and she didn't get shot in the head. So she was alive and she ran around in the room, and they couldn't go and shoot her because she was really aggressive. She was defending herself, and they injected her with some kind of sedative, and after like 3 hours she was starting to look like she was walking like really like numb, getting numb. And at that time one guy approached her with a handgun of some sort, and he shot her in the head and she fell. And there was this really horrendous place where they killed the cows. And I remember I saw her as she fell. Immediately a bunch of other workers came in and they put a rope around her neck, and with a pallet jack they pulled her out of the way.
Oh my god.
I saw her body running through, like getting what's the word I'm trying?
Dragged through the
Dragged through the blood outside of the production line, so they could keep killing.
Wow. Yikes. So one of my questions was like, what's the most horrific thing you witnessed? And I guess that was probably it. Did these things stick with you when you went home? Did it ever keep you up at night?
Absolutely. Many times I showed up at home after an exhausted day. I just asked myself, what am I doing here? Like, there has to be a way out, definitely. Many of my workers had like this like sort of weird mentality of there's another way out. Like every time I saw them, I would say hi, and they would say hi, what's up, and we just hang around at their cafeteria or something. And most of them, they were like, another day, there's no other way out. Like,
yeah, that's really sad.
it's like most of them at that time, they had this sort of learned helplessness,
right?
To not be able to look for another way of doing their living.
Would you say that you, among your other coworkers, became desensitized?
Oh, I did, absolutely. I used to be like, I saw horrible things and became like apathic towards what I saw.
Apathetic?
Apathetic, yes.
I can imagine you have to in order to do the job. Like if you're empathizing with the animals, you're not going to last very long.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Can you describe like the smell and sounds of this place?
The smell was horrendous. Like this deep kind of foggy, kind of bloody smell in this place. The sounds, it's really, really loud inside that place. We were always wearing earplugs.
What motivated you to go vegan? Like, what was the final straw?
Well, I saw Gary Jurovsky's video, and it motivated me, like, to completely remove myself from that situation.
The best speech you'll ever hear?
Yes.
That's a good one.
That's a really good one. And also everything I saw in that place. What I saw in that place, like, it was really overwhelming.
Do you think this experience fuels your activism?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's because those places need to get shut down. Yeah. Being there, it was like a really kind of like experiencing like kind of a involuntary duality that's something that every one of us has to learn and like try to find a way to pull oneself from that situation. It's really hard, but once it's done, there's hope, basically. Yeah.
So, final question. Are you optimistic about the future? Do you see a vegan world in the next 50 to 100 years?
Yes, absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ruben.
Thank
I
you,
appreciate you taking the time to have this interview and share your experience. I'm sure people will find it insightful. And please check out the best speech you'll ever hear. I've linked it in my description box. It's amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Cool.
Yo, how when me eat them, I wonder when me eat. When me tell them, say me nah eat no fish, nah no meat now. How when me eat them, I wonder when me yam. When me tell them, say that I'm a vegan, man. How when me eat them, I wonder when me eat. When me tell them, say me nah eat no fish, nah no meat now.